Welcome into the Monday Morning Quarterback UK with your boys Ben, Bids and Kriski. There's no Dammy again, but we have Miles Garrett here in honour of him, the Defensive Player of the Year.
Is he ever coming back?
I don't think so.
Hopefully not.
Did we invite him back?
I've lost track to where he is now.
It's a bit awkward now, isn't it? Wherever you are, Dammy, come home. Cool. How are we doing, guys?
Good. Bit tired after last night.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. I'm tired.
Mate, that game, great as it was, but late finish for us.
I feel like they just need to be more courteous towards us and just start earlier in the day.
Just get rid of the halftime show if it's going to be like that.
It would still be late. It would still be late.
It was like apparently wasn't it like the 7th longest game?
It was long.
Sounds about right.
And yeah,
it was long.
Ben was asleep for majority of the fourth quarter.
I was awake. I just wasn't responding to him.
I turned up and he had his little setup on the floor ready with a ready to sleep through. For him. I
had a blanket and
pillow ready for you.
So every year whenever we watched it at mine, like halfway through the game, I'll normally like at half time when the halftime show is happening, I'll get like a blanket and a pillow and just be like, I just get cozy on the floor. This time, from the start, from the jump, I didn't have it in me. In my defence, though, we were out till 7 a.m. the night before. So in my defence.
Grow.
Yeah, very road choices. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get back to
at least you spent £150 on a hotel to stay there for 3 hours.
Yeah. I forgot about. Tell them about your hotel story.
And it gets worse.
Oh no.
He almost left.
I almost left.
No.
I almost left the hotel. Yeah. There are 2 loud dogs in the room next to me. Like loud. Apparently pet friendly. Didn't know that about that hotel. I won't be staying there again.
What, they
just loud. Yeah. I went downstairs and complained. They were like, yeah, you're like the 4th person to come down and complain. I was like, you doing anything about it? They were like, yeah, we're calling the owners. I was like, now what? Like, where do we go from here? Like, I was like, can I get my money back and I'll just go next door? They were like, no, because you did it through a third party. You have to go through them and it's going to be long for you. I was like, so move me then. Like, what? And they moved me to obviously a worse room. Blasting hot air. Couldn't turn it off. Aircon was broken.
Well, what the 150?
Yeah, I wasn't happy. So
I paid like 90 for mine.
I've sent a couple of fun messages. So we'll see what we get back.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I complained today. Once I woke up at like 1 p.m.
I wish I took the day off. That's my mistake.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle on calls today.
Yeah, I've had 3 hours of calls today. It's just
that's not for me.
Yeah,
it's not for me. No, I was sleeping till 1. It was great,
but worth it because what a game!
Oh, what a game! Absolutely. Anything else before we get straight into it?
No.
I think
Juicy stuff. So, final score of the game: 25-22 Chiefs in overtime.
None of us called overtime.
Well, although Ben feels like he did, and he's been searching the
record. No. I didn't say. I said it's definitely going to be overtime. I said it was going to be really close.
You didn't mention overtime.
20-17.
No. You didn't mention it at all.
All right, fine. No worries. But no, I would never have said it's going to overtime. 2 Super Bowls have gone to overtime. This is the 58th one. I think this is the 3rd one that's gone to overtime. So 1 in every 20. So 1 in every 20 Super Bowls are going to overtime, basically. So no, I would never have called that. But I thought it was going to be close. I didn't wear sunglasses because I wanted to, but I didn't bring them. But I picked 2017 Chiefs.
And it didn't end 2017.
But the Chiefs won.
Yeah.
The Chiefs did win.
The Chiefs won.
The Chiefs
and they won by 3 points.
Okay.
I mean, Dammy also picked 24-21, but I don't think he thought through that was 6 touchdowns and 1 field goal.
So we're actually saying Dammy picked a better score than you.
I still don't think so. Purely because of how you get to his score.
Yeah, how you get to his score was touchdowns, no field goals.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense for me. I had 4 touchdowns and 3 field goals.
I didn't work mine out like that. I just picked a score.
That's what I do. I've never broken it down that much, thinking how many touchdowns.
And that's how you accidentally picked the 49ers to win, or
no,
unrelated.
That was part of the plan.
Unrelated.
That was part of the plan. You're going out like they blew them out, like you said it was a close game.
I mean, the second half wasn't close. Second half wasn't close.
No.
All right, cool.
Well, yeah, a lot to unpack from the game.
Yeah, let's
Where
go
do
through.
we start?
Yeah, let's start with some talking points. So we'll kind of go through the sequence of events, but I want to start with you, Bids, and the linebacker Greenlaw's injury.
Yeah, killer.
So you've been doing an
injury.
injury.
Bids for that.
Well, because he's been doing injury corner.
Well, you thought I got injured watching the game or something?
I mean, celebrated. I was like, are you calling Bids out for that?
He did say his knee hurt during filming. While we were watching the game, so I don't know.
Don't worry about that.
So what happened? Break it down. What happened?
Yeah, it was rough. It was a weird one. It was like he was just I think he wasn't even like going on the field to play. He was going on to celebrate a defensive stop. Yeah, and he was like jumping up in the air, getting ready. Took one step backwards, and you just see his Achilles just rupture.
Yeah, it was rough.
Like you knew immediately. At first, I thought it was his right foot that planted, and it was potentially like an ACL or something like that. But then you see, like in like the slow mo, you see it just happens with all of them. Like you see like your calf just sort of ripples.
Yeah, and that's tough.
Yeah, rough. That
game.
Yeah, out for the game.
Out for massive loss. 6 months.
Yeah. Last game of the season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just from getting a bit too excited.
Missed the whole Super Bowl. Came out in crutches.
Yeah.
Devastating.
Could have been decisive in the game. Like.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I doubt it.
But yeah, killer. I think there's a couple other injuries. Debo went off with a hamstring injury, and he
came back on immediately.
Nah, he came back on after a few plays, but he wasn't as effective, and they didn't really use him in the second half.
After that,
yeah,
which played in my part. I had him under 8 combined yards.
Oh yeah, we're doing Kriski's Bankers next year, aren't we?
Kriski's Bankers.
You remember Ben?
Fair enough. I'll leave it to you, sir.
No, it's too much pressure.
I was easy stuff. Chris Jones MVP.
I mean, it didn't happen. Yeah. It could have.
He was a problem.
He was a
problem all game. If Mahomes hadn't carried in the fourth, and they'd still won, if they'd used the running game a little bit more, and if because he almost stripped Purdy a couple times, got hands on his arm, and I thought he'd knocked it out when he threw it at the ground, and you're like, no, it was an incomplete pass. But he just caught his arm and then threw it at the ground. That could have easily been out.
He was superb all night bringing pressure, but he didn't really, because he didn't get that sack.
Just didn't get the stats, did he?
Turnover or something like that. Yeah, that doesn't. But he was the pressure, especially on that final drive. The 49ers.
Yeah, they had him. Cool. Couple other bits. McCaffrey's fumble early on.
Yeah, because they were looking so good that drive. They were ticking over really nicely, and then you don't expect CMC to do that.
So the first drive is often looks really good because of the scripted plays. So the team will plan their whole drive all the way down for a touchdown, which is why you see a lot of first drive touchdowns, because the team will work on it all week, and they had 2 weeks on this one. So that's why it looked so comfortable, and why the whole rest of the game they weren't just running down the field on them easily. That just wasn't happening. I thought I just assumed they were going to get a touchdown on the first drive. After the first couple of plays, I was like, oh, okay, the Chiefs actually just are unable to stop these scripted plays. They'll do what they can, but this could easily be a touchdown.
Yeah.
Them not getting that touchdown, I think, was important. I think there's a lot of other factors to it, but yeah, McCaffrey fumbles, Karlaftis recovers. What was that, 3 minutes in?
Yeah.
I was excited.
It set the tone for the amount of mistakes there were in the first half.
Yeah.
Both sides of the ball, there was a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. McCaffrey as well. What's that? It's third fumble of the year or fourth fumble of the year or something.
He hasn't had many. I'm struggling to think of any. Yeah,
there weren't many. And then Pacheco responds in kind.
Yeah.
At least that's fair.
See, that one pissed me off more than the McCaffrey one. Mostly because I wanted the Chiefs to win. But McCaffrey's one, he couldn't do anything about it. He got wrapped up and the ball got knocked away. There's nothing he can do. He's nothing he can do. Pacheco could have done something about this. And that's what annoyed me about it, was, yes, after he's made the move, there's little he can do. But the move he made was to the outside, which I thought was weird. I said that to you at the time we were watching. I was like, he cut left out towards the sideline when there's comfortable coverage. If he cuts up inside and wraps the ball up, he guarantees that he's kept possession, unless someone punches it out, which is obviously nothing you can do about that. But he kind of ran outside and moved his arm out, which gave less touch points. So I don't know if you've seen this before, but when you're holding the ball, the more touch points you have, the harder it is. So if you hold the ball perfectly between bicep, forearm and side, it's really hard to get the ball out. But that's when players make moves and move it away from their side, and there's only 2 touch points. That's when players often get the ball knocked away. And when I saw that, I was like, he made a move and his arm came away, and then it got ripped out. And I was like, oh, if you cut upfield, like you're in there. Now, obviously, hindsight is what it is, but.
And if it were you would have had it tucked in.
No, I'd have got a head injury on the first play of my entire career and never would have played again. Someone would have hit me in the head once and I'd be like,
too much for me. Yeah,
Jesus,
no,
I'd have dropped. I don't have that in the locker. But yeah, that Pacheco fumble then threw it back down, and after that, I put it back to even, and after that, it was 10-0 at that point. Like, Chiefs needed that, and it looked a bit dicey at that point.
Dangerous area as well, wasn't it? It was in the red zone.
Oh yeah, it was like 10 yards out.
Which is...
Needed that. Yeah.
I mean, I just thought it was his aggressive running, man. His knees are just up at his chin, elbowing balls out of his hands. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happened.
Needed it out of his own hand.
Yeah, needed it out of his own hand.
Imagine.
Which obviously stirred up a little bit on the sideline as well. Obviously you saw, little bit of
was Kelsey? Yeah, Kelsey and Reed, yeah.
Interesting that, wasn't it?
It was interesting because I don't think a lot of players can really get away with putting hands on your coach and putting hands on Andy Reid.
Oh, he put paws on it.
Yeah.
And he caught him off balance.
Yeah, if you had gone down,
dropped his play sheet.
If you'd gone down,
yeah, 1 reception for 1 yard for definitely a Hall of Fame tight end, and arguably the best tight end ever. Yeah. People will argue that but yeah, it's another Super Bowl for him.
Yeah,
you're like,
but I mean, after that moment when he pushed his coach over, I mean, he ended the game with 9 receptions for 93 yards. So I mean, it kind of worked.
Sort of. But there was one moment where you were like, you shouldn't have beefed him.
It could have been a turning point.
Because he beefed him, and then Mahomes threw the pick.
Yeah.
Now you and I saw it slightly different when we were watching it. I thought he was trying to go over the top to MVS, and he underthrew it.
No.
You thought he overthrew Kelsey.
I think he overthrew Kelsey because I think there all that drama on the side.
It was like 5 minutes before that.
Yeah, they wanted him to be comfortable, wanted him to get in the game. Yeah. So he was gonna try and get it to him as soon as he could. Yeah. And he definitely overthrew it because I can't remember who was behind. Maybe Rashee Rice, but Rashee Rice did double coverage. MVS double coverage. So he definitely wasn't. Holmes isn't throwing into double coverage against MVS. Yeah, that's not happening. It was 100% for Kelsey.
But just the fact that it sailed so much that it did, I just assumed he couldn't possibly throw into Kelsey because it just went about 20 feet in the air. Yeah. Kelsey's like 6'3". I was like. He was looking up at like that. He didn't reach for it because he was like, because if you see a ball that goes within kind of 10 feet of him, you'll throw an arm at it. It was like 15 feet in the air. I was like, this is nowhere near him. Yeah, that was an ugly pick. That's what I expected Brock Purdy to do. It was an ugly pick.
He did not.
He didn't.
He didn't. No, he didn't.
He did well for himself. He had a good account for himself. They just couldn't get it going.
We'll get into more of that. So he beefed Reed. Then Mahomes threw the pick.
Yes, it wasn't a great start.
It didn't look great. So half time is 10-3. And we saw some other cool stuff happen. So
you're not Usher.
Yeah, I could have done without that.
Yeah.
You said this earlier, when the best moment is when Lil Jon comes out.
Yeah, that was
it's not a great performance for you, is it? Like,
wait, 2023? No, it's not 24 even.
Yeah, 2024. Yes, yeah. And then Ludacris looking somehow like 25 but also 60 at the same time. Yeah. Just massive. You were like, why is his hair so big?
Let's throw out.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So what else happened? So we had 2 record field goals in that game. So Jake Moody's field goal, which broke the record by 1 yard from 54 up to 55. He hit 55. The record was 54.
Yeah.
And then Butker hits 57.
Held the record for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, not long.
Which, to be fair, it surprised me when they lined up for the kick and they did say this will be a Super Bowl record. I was like, I would have thought that would have been... But I guess kickers, they're just naturally kicking a lot further now. But so it's probably more likely to get broken now. But it just surprised me that was the record. But then for it to get broken twice in one night.
Wait till these Gaelic football players get into the league. Boy, they're kicking like 70 yards.
75.
But they did say, was it Jake Moody or
Butker was hitting
70 pre-game in training.
Yeah, he hit a 70-yarder pre-game.
The training pre-game, yeah.
What is it? Just because it was so enclosed, no winds, and just warm,
and he has a leg on him apparently.
70 yards.
Yeah. So I think the other thing about it as well is teams are often risk averse in the Super Bowl. Like, if it's over 50, you're like, yeah, I'll probably hit it, but it's a risk that you're probably less likely to take. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised there wasn't a longer one, but not impossible, I suppose. But so what else happened? So we had the punt recovery off the heel of Darryl Luther Jr.
Oh, this was unfortunate, wasn't it?
Grim, hilarious.
It was.
This is one of those. It wasn't funny at all.
I wanted the Chiefs to win. I wanted my prediction to be right. That's all I wanted.
It wasn't funny at all.
I wanted to be right. It was one of these mistakes, right? That we were talking about, like a few of these dotted around, like you said. So what happened?
Kriski, go on.
Because at first glance, I thought the punt returner got it all wrong. Like, I saw it bounce, and I was like, "Mate, why are you going near that ball?" But then obviously on the replay, you saw it just clip the guy's heel.
Yeah.
So then the punt returner had to do the best thing and just try and react quickly.
Yeah.
Because he panicked. He was like, "Wait a sec, did it just hit his?" Then he tried to jump on it.
And then he swarmed by two Chiefs. And it's like, it's just so unfortunate.
In the Super Bowl, making these kinds of errors in the Super Bowl. It's clearly unbelievable.
It is, punt's coming on, he's not clearly realised, get yourself just that little bit out of the way.
Well, he's not looked, has he?
No, he's probably more focused on the
he's focused on blocking.
Yeah.
But, your job is to block, but don't touch the ball. Ever. If you're just blocking, you shouldn't be touching the ball ever. Unless someone else touches it first.
And surely the punt returner's like giving him a shout saying it's dropping, so step 5 yards right.
You would think so, but...
Yeah.
Who knows?
And then that put him in a right dangerous position, and then we all know what happened next.
Punished
immediately.
That's what the champions do. They'll punish you when you make mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who got it in them was MVS's touchdown.
MVS's touchdown.
Another leg of mine. Just saying.
MVS and McCall.
I had 2 receptions.
Oh, I see. I was
going to say,
he got
2 receptions.
3 receptions. The last 2 in overtime.
Yeah. He went for an MVS touchdown, MVS 2 receptions. I assumed he'd get 1 reception, it would be a longer one. Yeah. He got 1 reception, it was 18 yards or 17 yards.
Yeah.
His 1 reception, his over-under was 18.5 yards. Grim. But he got 2 receptions in overtime anyway, so everyone won that if you went over. But
the bets count into overtime?
Prop bets do, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is why Mahomes getting like 333 passing yards.
46 attempts.
When he got that 160-yard long bomb to McCall Hardman that then got fumbled, I think, by Pacheco. That was the one that got fumbled by Pacheco immediately afterwards. So that was 60. And then he got, 40, 50 in overtime. So outside of that, he would have been well under his prop, which is what I had in our banker, which is under 260. Literally without those 2 things, overtime killed it, really. But anyway, is what it is. So what else happened? So we had Mahomes rushing, 4th and 1.
Mahomes rushing in general, man.
9 rushing attempts for what? 90?
Nah. Where are we at?
9 for
66.
9 for 66.
66. But his longest was 22.
Yeah, that was big.
22?
Yeah, it was.
Isn't that longer? Almost longer than McCaffrey's longest.
Yeah, it was. It was. Yeah. No. McCaffrey had like a 20-yarder, didn't he?
No, 11.
Was it only 11 that one? Where he went down the sideline reception and the DB.
Yeah, that would have been a reception. Yeah.
I can't remember which one.
That was a reception. Yeah. Where he went 20 yards down the sideline and the DB took the worst angle in the world.
Oh yeah, you were pissed.
I was fuming. I was like, what is this angle you're taking? This is what you should get taught when you're young. What is this angle? He's moving towards the sideline. There's only one place he can go, is around you. If he cuts inside, that's what you want him to do. You have help on the inside. And he shows him the outside and gives him a lane. I was like, you're an idiot. And this was an overtime. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Garbage. Anyway, Mahomes' rushing was nuts. That 4th and 1,
bold.
That was bold. But sort of expected. That's what I thought he was going to do.
And you called it.
Yeah. You said, it was also a weird question. Just at that point, you were like, 4th and 1, what's he going to do here? I was like, he's going to fake the handoff to Pacheco, let Pacheco draw the linebacker out, and then he's going to run through the gap. Immediately. I was
is exactly what he did.
Yeah.
The commentator was spot on, to be fair. He said Mahomes 4th and 1 with the game on the line.
Yeah, it's got to be.
He's not giving it to anyone else.
Particularly after he's handed the ball off to Pacheco already to try and get the 3rd and 1 yard, and he didn't get it. He got the half. It was like, we're not risking this again. They're going to expect Pacheco to get the ball, which is why the linebacker went with Pacheco.
Yep.
Which is why
he's at open field.
Yeah, and he won 12 yards off that one. That wasn't his 22.
No, that wasn't.
But yeah, I think he did rush again really soon after that. But yeah, he ran a lot. We already spoke about Chris Jones just pressure all game. And this was the first Super Bowl overtime since the rule change. Like I said, there haven't been many Super Bowl overtimes. So the rule changed a few years ago after that Bills game. We spoke about this actually in one of our early episodes around rules and differences in rules between college and the pro game. So the rule was changed to be, if you score a touchdown, everyone has to possess the ball twice or once each, unless it's a defensive score. So the idea being that you can't just receive the ball and then score a touchdown at the end of the game, because that's what happened in that Chiefs-Bills game. So the Chiefs were obviously pissed when they changed the rule, because they're like, well, you're changing it because we won a game. Like, what is this rule change? It was weird that it was reaction, but it made sense.
Yeah, in a game that big, it did need. I think it would have changed if it was anyone.
You know, they were thinking about it beforehand, or is it just a reaction? Nah, let's just switch it up.
No, I think it was a direct reaction. Because the Bills were so angry, because the Bills were like, if we had got the ball, we would have scored a touchdown. Because they both got touchdowns in the last 2.5 minutes. So full shootout was like 34-31 or something. It was just proper shootout. So their point was, they were like, if we'd got the ball, we would have scored a touchdown. They got the ball, they got to score the touchdown. It was a coin flip decision, and that's not how we should be winning games. Yeah. Which makes sense, but obviously if you're a Chiefs fan or a Chiefs player, you'd be like, why are you're making a rule because I won a game? Like, it's weird either way. Yeah. But it does make sense to change the rule, because I don't think it is fair that scoring a touchdown on the opening drive ends the game. Give the other team the opportunity. That's what the college game did. Remember I told you they each get the ball if you score a touchdown, the team score a touchdown. Like, it makes sense.
It does make sense.
And,
but the 49ers didn't apparently know, or weren't well prepped. I don't know.
There's a lot of. But Juszczyk came out in the post match interview. He said he didn't know the rules. Yeah. I was thinking, does anyone prep these guys for interviews? Why would you say that? Like,
why would you admit that?
Why would you say that?
Surely you don't make the image look worse for yourself,
right?
Like, just play the game, but also
But that's criminal. How do you not know the rule? Every single rule in and out of the sport that you play for a living.
Yeah. I'm surprised for them to say they don't know the rule. I kind of get them saying, "Oh, we didn't kind of prepare for it, and we may not have." Whereas clearly the Chiefs, they've come out and said, "Yeah, we spoke about this. We know full well we're going to receive if we win the toss." But
also, you have a coaching staff for a reason. They you do these drills, and I said I think I was saying to my brother earlier. So it's like having, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like not knowing that at the end of a football game it goes into penalties, and not practicing any penalties ever. Yeah. And just expecting to go
not being aware that you alternate penalties. Yeah. And then going up to take one, and they're like, go back.
Exactly. Like, you take one and you score, and thinking that you just win.
Yeah. Running off celebrating.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's weird, and also, if you didn't know, first of all, it's weird you don't know the rules. It's a playoff rule, so you've played playoff games. This is your third playoff game. Like, was it the third or fourth? No, because they had the bye. They had the bye, so that's their third playoff game. You didn't know a rule that is specifically for the playoffs. Okay, let's assume that that's true. Why would you ever admit that?
Idiot.
It doesn't help you. The reason we lost is because we were all stupid.
But the thing is,
why would you admit that?
Shanahan in his post-match interview said that they wanted the ball third. They wanted the ball the first of the sudden death rounds. So, but they clearly didn't think it through properly. He thought I don't know what he thought, but that's what he said.
Yeah, his logic was like, if we get a field goal anyway, we know what we've got to hold them to. But then if he goes to sudden death,
you got to hold Patrick Mahomes
to not score a touchdown. Yeah. And I get it, because that's not what the Chiefs are like this year. But as soon as the 49ers won the toss, I was like, damn, they're going to defer, because that's what the Chiefs are going to want to do. They're going to give them the ball, and they took the ball. I was like, you've just given the game. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Like, you have to score a touchdown now, because if you don't, you are saying to Mahomes, go win the game.
Yeah, like, and that just
go ahead. Like, I think that's the thing. Taking it second, you know what you need to get. Like, going second is always the better option in any of those. Like, which is why it's or in like penalty shootouts, it's much better for you to shoot first.
Yeah. It's like
it's 60-40 if you win.
It was someone I was listening to earlier as well. They were
60-40.
Like, so if you go second as well, you've straight away got an extra down, because you know full well you've got fourth down. It's either now or never. Whereas obviously if you're doing first, you're like, fourth down, are we going to have to hit it now? And it's a completely different dynamic now.
If you keep the rules like this, in 10 years when you have like a good set of like data to go off of, I can almost guarantee that the team that takes it second will win like football does, like 60-40. with the first penalty taker, because it's just so obvious, especially if you're a good defensive team. Like, if you're a bad defensive team, you might be like, okay, if we go up and score the touchdown on them, we can put more pressure on them early. But even then, it's a bit ropey, because you're the better offensive team in theory in your mind, so you know you'll score the touchdown if you get the ball back. It doesn't really track for me. It feels obvious that you take the ball second.
Yeah, and it played into Mahomes' hand of the Chiefs, because what a last drive.
Oh, nuts. Yeah, that 4th and 1. They just are winners. I don't know. Like, you can't stop Mahomes.
Inevitable. It was.
It really was. At any point, did we feel that they weren't going to score a touchdown?
In overtime?
Yeah.
No.
Even when it went to 4th and 1, I was like, he's holding the ball, or he's going to rush for it.
Yeah.
He's easily got this.
Yeah, as soon as they got into kind of half, like, middle territory, I was like, yeah, they're going to win this now.
Yeah.
Didn't they run the last play as well that they did in the against the Eagles as well last year?
I don't know, maybe.
They ran exactly the same play as well, where I think Kelsey took a couple of plays out and then the receiver just went outside.
Possibly, I'm not 100% sure of the play.
I think I saw it today and I was like, no way.
I was annoyed though, they let the time run down.
Yeah.
They had 2 timeouts and they were letting it run down to 6 seconds. I was like, if you don't get it on this play, you don't get another play. Like, it was 1st and goal.
Yeah.
When they gave it to Hardman for the touchdown at the end, they were 4 yards out, something like that. If they'd taken a timeout, they would have had 30 seconds left, or 25 seconds, or something like that. They didn't take a timeout; it went down to 6 seconds.
Yeah,
1st and goal.
Yeah, because I think they said it on commentary. It doesn't matter because it's not like it's kind of like a new quarter. Like, it doesn't like end there. It doesn't say.
Does
like,
it not?
No, it goes into like overtime too.
Like, you just keep playing.
Yeah. So it's kind of like
that's
a new
my
quarter.
bad.
I thought that, but I think I heard commentary say people thinking, no, it's not just they're not going to end overtime there. It very much goes.
Yeah, because what would have happened if they ended then?
Yeah,
draw.
Yeah,
draw.
Penalty shootout.
Field goal kickoff.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense. I just didn't even think about it. To be fair, we were pretty tired.
Yeah.
It was 4 a.m. for us.
Well, you hear the story that Mahomes said afterwards. After Hardman caught the touchdown, didn't know he'd won the Super Bowl. So Hardman didn't know. Hardman didn't know. So he was just standing there, and he was like surprised that why Mahomes was like sprinting over to him, and he's like, oh, celebrating.
Yeah, he probably stitched her up in that
instant. That's hilarious. And he was just locked in, like, he's locked in, isn't he?
You just think, he's.
That's locked in, like,
Or he just didn't know.
Yeah.
He didn't know the rules either.
Yep.
He's players, I'll tell you.
He does. Yeah.
Fair. God.
Okay, cool. So, game finished 25-22. Chiefs win it.
Yeah,
that's a double. Confetti comes down. That's a double back to back for the Chiefs.
First back to back team since the Patriots. What was it? 05 or
something like
that.
2000.
I think it was like 19 years.
Yeah, like 20 years ago. Like it's close to 20 years ago. Yeah, it said I think they said it was 20 years ago. What does this mean for the Chiefs, Mahomes, Reed, and the rest of the league?
Well, it definitely means dynasty. I know we spoke about it a couple of times. I think that's.
Is it a dynasty or is it the start of a dynasty?
Being a dynasty.
I think it's big. It cements, and it's probably still likely to continue for another few years. But
they got cap space as well.
Yeah, you said this before, and it was. But
they got cap space.
I think that's definitely certain for me. Is that, it just cements the Chiefs.
And can Reed and Mahomes reach the heights of Brady and Belichick?
So, what's your take?
Thank you, Greg. Yeah.
So, for me, people were talking about, look, Brady has 7. He's the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time debate is obviously one that's had a lot, and it's kind of a weird one to have when Mahomes is still quite early in his career. But does he need 7 to be considered the greatest of all time? Probably not. Because you also got to look at it like this. Brady had a top 5 or top 10 defense for 4 or 5 of his 7 Super Bowls. He had an incredible defense almost every year. That was Belichick's focus, was incredible defense, because I got Tom Brady. But Tom Brady didn't need to do a lot. And he actually played quite poorly in a few of those Super Bowl games. But they won because the defense was sensational. But even when this is the Chiefs' first top 10 defense that they've won with. And he didn't, and obviously they were incredible, but they didn't win in the game at the end. He did.
Yeah.
So it's like, regardless of whether he you know, he has a great defense or not great defense. He is the reason they're winning. Whereas people have often said, they're like, Tom Brady was unbelievable, of course he was. But for his Super Bowl wins, his 7, he probably wasn't pivotal to every single one of those 7. Whereas you would say Mahomes has been pivotal for all 3.
It's fair.
So it's like, does he need 7? Also looking at the span of like the constant conference championships, like constantly causing everyone problems, no one can beat you. People are saying Mahomes probably doesn't need 7. He probably only needs 4 or 5 to be considered the greatest of all time. Also, this is the best 5-year stretch of any team. Like to win.
Lost 2 playoff games, or 3 playoff games since
in 5 years. No. Sorry, not in 5 years. But they've. Yeah, he's only ever lost 3 playoff games.
And that was 2 to Brady and 1 to Barrett.
Yeah, but he's now got 2 Super Bowls and 3 conference championship games in 5 years. Like his team has been the best 4 team, one of the best 4 team, or top 4 team, or the best team for the last 5 years. And it's a completely different team as well, because people said this year, like we all said, like they don't look quite the same. There's an entire different way of playing, and they're still incredible, but it's a different way of playing. They're playing a defensive style of football. They don't have many weapons anymore. They got rid of Tyreek Hill, which people ripped them for like the previous year, but have won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
it's like
it's crazy.
2 Super Bowls in a row after getting rid of Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Did you need him?
Nope.
Apparently not.
You got MVS.
Apparently not. So this is it, right? You're like, okay, well, the Miami Dolphins are getting the best wide receiver in the league. They're going to be amazing now because the Chiefs will be nothing without him. 2 Super Bowls in a row. Going for a 3-peat. Travis Kelce's a lunatic as well.
Yeah.
He really is.
Just a side note.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? So what does that mean for Mahomes? GOAT conversation continues.
Yeah.
He's now in the running for a 3-peat, which would be the first time that's ever happened in NFL.
Yeah, 4th quarterback to win 3 Super Bowls with Brady, Montana, Bradshaw, and Troy Aikman.
Yep.
And he's the 2nd youngest out of them.
Yep. And yep. Chiefs dynasty has been a dynasty, continues to be a dynasty. Best 5-year stretch of any team, and if they're then back on for another year, they have a little bit of cap space as well. So we breezed over just there. But I was saying before to you guys when we were prepping, I looked at the cap spaces that they've got for the year coming up, and they've got like the 12th. Like 10th or 12th most cap space. They've got like 28 million to play with. So it's not a lot, but it's not. You'd think that they've just won the Super Bowl, so you're like, they're going to have no cap space to play with. The Seahawks have got like negative 70 million or something.
Yeah.
Saints it's the Saints have got negative 80 million, and the Seahawks have got like negative 60 million or something. Same with the Chargers. Chargers have got like negative 50. Cool. That's why you're losing all your players in the offseason.
Yeah.
Just wait, because everyone's going. You haven't got any money. Like you've got to get rid of players. What does that mean for Andy Reid in the conversation of best coach ever?
Thing is with that, it depends. Like Brady and Belichick had 20 years together and won 6 championships.
Yep.
Mahomes has had and Reid have had 7. He's had 7 years as a star, and they've won 3.
Yep.
I mean, there's time. If Reid just wants to carry on and not retire till he's beat that, they could. If Mahomes stays healthy and they keep. Doesn't matter who's in the team, really, does it? If they just keep a team that is average, then and then a good defense, then they could just keep winning.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And how long's Reid been in the league now?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I know that it took him 20 seasons to win his first Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I saw that today, and he's there now. I think he's like the joint most Super Bowl appearance or something like that.
He's obviously. I mean, interestingly as well, he's a proper offensive-minded coach, whereas Belichick's a defensive-minded coach. I think it's really interesting that the 2 greatest coaches are not the same style of coach. I think that's interesting too. Obviously, it's more of an offensive league, so he's now coming to the fore, whereas 10 years ago it was more of a defensive league. So
it's probably why it's taken years. He's finally got someone who can run and create. He's creative ideas.
Yeah. And it's much easier for offensive talent to shine now because of the rule changes that we've spoken about in previous episodes. So it kind of makes sense, but defense still wins championships.
Defense wins championships.
Still wins championships. So now what does it mean for the rest of the league? Because the Bills have been going through what everyone else is now going through, but Bills have been going through for 5 years. The Bills were like, we need to tailor our team so we can beat the Chiefs, and still can't beat the Chiefs. Yeah. What does everyone else do? What do the Ravens do? What do the 49ers do now mentally? And how do they approach this now?
I don't really know what you can say because I think Chiefs have had every angle come towards them to throw them up or like displace them, but it just doesn't ever seem to.
And they've had to
them.
Yeah, they've had to play different styles of play each year. They can't just keep consistency like some of these other teams have, and they just still make it work.
Yeah. So I think from an AFC standpoint, like
hope Burrow is fit.
Literally, I think.
I know.
They've just got to go by their own game and then just hope that the Chiefs do just fall, like drop standards just slightly. But it's kind of, I think it's the majority just kind of out of the team's control. just
got to let them win.
So the answer to the question: what does the rest of the league do? Pray.
Is that the answer?
That sounds like your answer.
Just stop trying to predict the treat. Like just stop focusing their energy on the Chiefs. Just do their own thing and just hope the Chiefs somehow
fall off.
Yeah.
Hope Mahomes gets injured.
Sounds simple.
It does.
I don't genuinely think you can't try and compete in the same league as the Chiefs at the moment. You just gotta do your own thing and then just hope that for some reason.
Because he's been healthy for a majority of his career. And even when he wasn't, he's still balling out.
Yeah, when he had the high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
Get mad at it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He became the second best QB in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I ain't got an answer for you, man. They hope he gets injured.
I'm just interested in what your guys' take is because I don't see a route. I don't see much of a route other than because the 49ers had a reasonable, a good approach. I don't have anything against the 49ers, by the way. It may feel like I did.
You 100% do.
No, I don't have anything against the 49ers in general. I really like the way they're set up. I just don't like the amount of love Brock Purdy gets for what he brings. Well,
it's the opposite. Everyone is
down
on him.
From you guys.
You don't like the love we give him?
Yeah, you want the MVP. You said MVP.
I mean, he had better stats than Lamar.
Cool. Better stats. Cool. No. This is what I'm going to come on to, which is why he has such good stats. Is he's in the system. It's a system quarterback, and he's good. He's above average. I didn't say he was bad. At no point I said he's bad. He's a good.
Roll the tape.
Early on in the season, I might have said he was bad because there were some ropey throws.
Yeah.
And he still threw 5 interceptable passes going into that game. He threw the most of anybody. And he got away with a couple. We were talking about it earlier, Kriski, before we filmed. He got away with a couple in that game.
Yeah.
But when Mahomes didn't, right? Mahomes threw an equally bad ball as
the worst
Purdy.
The worst he's ever thrown.
Yep. And his got picked. Purdy's didn't. It is what it is. Still won the game.
What, in the game?
Yeah. Purdy threw one which got it was outside, got tipped, and then
but the one that Devo
it wasn't
back
bad.
up. It wasn't anywhere near as bad.
He had some bad throws.
It wasn't anywhere near as bad.
I wasn't on about the Devo one. There was one I do remember they threw up, and I was like, oh god,
across the body.
That went straight to Kittle or whoever it was.
It wasn't.
It got pulled back for a holding.
Oh, that was the worst hold in the world.
Yeah.
As well.
I mean, he was going to get rocked.
Yeah, he was. He did play well actually. I don't remember really Purdy, but he played well in that game.
He's not the reason they lost.
No, we'll get onto that in a second. But he can't. But he played absolutely fine. Yeah. But he's a system quarterback. You could get another quarterback who was also cheap and probably make it work. Probably more expensive because Purdy's obviously the minimum you can pay somebody. But what else can you do? You've set up a team where it works, not having an expensive quarterback. Having someone cheap, and you still can't win. Because that's the way teams won in the past, just having a quarterback on rookie deals. Like Russell Wilson's one. He was in his second or third year of his deal, third, when he was still quite cheap. That's how a lot of teams have won them. You either have an exceptional quarterback, or a really cheap quarterback because early on in their career, which is why maybe Caleb Williams coming could change things if he can get things going in 2 or 3 years in.
The 49? Oh, sorry.
No.
I don't know where you were going with
that. Not for 49ers,
Yeah,
I'm just talking about
18,
system quarterbacks. If you can get a cheap, but I don't know what the 49ers can do differently. You've set your team up, you've got one of the best arrays of talent, and you still can't win. And that was Chiefs on a down year. And the Chiefs didn't even play that well in that game.
Yeah.
And they still beat you. Like, how do you... I don't know what you do, actually. Really. Because Kyle Shanahan isn't a really good coach. Obviously. 3 times you've been up double digits in the Super Bowl and losing all 3.
Yeah, I think
that's rough. Yeah, I don't know what else you do.
What's the question again?
Yeah, I was going to say,
what's the exam question?
But that was what does it mean for the rest of the league? And I was giving my take on how that feels for the 49ers because I don't, and like, what can other teams do about it? And I literally don't have anything either. The Chiefs are too good. If Reed and Mahomes stay together, they have a lot there. McDuffie is unbelievable, still on the cheap deal. You've got
huge play in the game as well.
Yeah, Chris Jones is going to be out of contract, so they're going to try and re-sign him. He's already getting paid. He got bought out for a 1-year deal, so he'll try and get a little bit more by winning the Super Bowl again. But they've got a little bit of money to play with. They've got Pacheco, who's on a cheap deal because he was a 7th-round running back. Keep him another year. Don't have to pay him. Like, they've got money to play with, and it almost looks like they're not going to be any worse next year. They don't. There's no discernible reason why they're any worse than next year. You look at the Chargers and you'll be like, oh damn, they could actually legitimately be worse next year. Harbaugh obviously is the X factor there and could make them better. And I think they probably will actually be quite good, but there's no discernible reason why the Chiefs would be worse. And that's the scary thing for other teams. Yeah. So I have one follow-up question after that, which is, why did the 49ers lose this game?
I think it probably comes down to a few things. I think not taking advantage in the first half. I think they probably had the Chiefs number in the first half, purely out of 2 reasons. I think Chiefs were making mistakes and Chiefs were not in the right frame of mind. You saw a few like they just weren't clicking, and I think half-time came at the wrong time for 49ers. I think that's where the Chiefs clearly regrouped, adapted, and came out second half, and their final four drives was ridiculous. But yeah, I think the 49ers just kind of let themselves down in certain areas. They weren't clinical. I think they didn't rely on the run game as much as they had. I think they kind of gave up and ran a little bit too early.
Still got like 20 rushes though.
Yeah, but I think McCaffrey was just getting battered, man. He's been sprinting everyone this whole season. Like, he came out for Elijah Mitchell a couple times. It was like, the guy's had a long season.
Yeah, and I think that kind of back to Shannon, I thought as well. I think there was just a little bit less experience showing where he made a few bad decisions, and that's maybe why he has now had 3 Super Bowls where he's been up by 10. And
like we said earlier that the Chiefs capitalized on errors, and the 49ers really didn't. Like,
no, because the 49ers defense as well was a lot better than I thought they would be. They came out guns blazing. Every time they got a stop or even just they made a play, they were all up like shit, and I was like, wow.
Until Greenlaw got injured.
Yeah.
It's about the right time, don't think about it.
Yeah. So it's a tough one to sum up, but I think there's a few different areas.
You've got an opinion, clearly.
Yeah.
No, I was just interested in what the take was, because the 49ers played better than I thought they would.
Well enough to win.
Worse. Yeah, like the Chiefs were worse than I thought they were going to be. Like a couple of that Pacheco fumble was criminal. Like that's gonna kill you. Like protect the ball, that kind of thing. It was far more damage. That was far more damaging than McCaffrey's one, because it's later on in the game, like a really critical moment, right before halftime. You're already down 10-0. Like that's a problem. Whereas McCaffrey's one was so early on in the first drive, you're like, you couldn't bring that back. Halfway through the game is more damaging. But do you think that even if the 49ers had been up 17-3, let's assume that McCaffrey, that they capitalised and they kept them down, it was 17-3. So that's really the best you could have hoped for, right? Yeah. Do you still think the Chiefs wouldn't have come back and won?
You know what? If there was the gap was slightly bit bigger, I do think the 49ers probably do see it through.
Really?
Yeah. Purely because I think that would have just got the elevate that a little bit more, and I think that defense would have just thrived on that a little bit. I think it was just that perfect gap for the Chiefs to come back. But I think actually just something that came to mind this morning about why I think 49ers also went clinical was that final drive of theirs. I think they were so focused on trying to run the clock down as well as also getting it in, that they shot themselves in the foot a little bit, and I think that's where they kind of maybe went wrong, and then after a couple of third down moments where they actually ended up having to kick the field goal.
Yeah.
I think if they just kind of played their own game and didn't worry about the clock, and try and game manage as well as trying to not give the Chiefs enough time, and just scored, then you kind of for well you're not going to lose the game.
Yeah.
But it kind of, because they only kicked the field goal, it kind of let the Chiefs back in to then sent it to overtime in the end. I think that kind of final drive ruined them a little bit. I think they shouldn't have been so focused on running the clock down as well as trying to score.
Right. Yeah. It did feel. It did. I think. Yeah. It did feel like they were trying to worry about both, and it didn't really feel like they knew what they were 100% going to do. It all felt very unprepared. It all felt really well prepared for 3 quarters, even till halftime, and then the third quarter wasn't as bad as I think maybe it looked. Like the 49ers were still playing pretty well, but it didn't feel like they were well prepared for the fourth quarter. It felt nervous, whereas the Chiefs felt comfortable regardless, and that's why I disagreed with you, was that if they were down 17-3 at half, I still think the Chiefs win. Just because it didn't look at any point like the 49ers were in control of what was happening in the fourth quarter at all. The Chiefs knew exactly what was going to happen. They were like, that's fine, we'll take everything as it comes, we've been here before. It all felt just really experienced and relaxed and calm. No one was panicked on the Chiefs team at all. Everyone looked panicked on the 49ers team. Everyone looked like twitchy, like they were like, we're in a chance to win a Super Bowl. Whereas the Chiefs were like, no, we've got this is fine. This is relaxed for us. Minute and a half left, it looks relaxed. Everyone's mentality looked different on the Chiefs versus the 49ers. I think that was the difference for me. And that comes from coaching, and that comes from experience, and that comes from having someone like Mahomes and Reed.
Yeah, but it's uncharted territory for the 49ers, really. Do they have any Super Bowl winners on the team, really? Like, any standout ones?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. No, they've probably got a couple knocking around, but yeah. I think that's what it is, and it felt like you knew at the end of that game that you were like, yeah, this isn't a surprise that Shanahan's blowing 3 double-digit leads. Like, his team didn't look comfortable and prepared for that moment, and players coming out at the end being like, I didn't know the overtime rules. Tells you everything.
Yeah.
Tells you everything about their mentality and where they're at.
You should be locked in.
It's a Super Bowl. Gone through every sort of
every scenario. Yeah.
Like, Mahomes looked just stoic, comfortable. They went for the coin flip. He lost the flip, and he was like, "Okay, right, they're gonna give us the ball. We just need to make sure we're going to score a touchdown." They took the ball. You could tell that he was like, "Cool, yeah, cool. That's what I would have picked." He's like, "Yeah, good choice." Like, it all looked just comfortable, routine for them. This is just any other game. And this is what I said to you when we were talking a couple of weeks ago. And Nick Wright said it. He was like, their season starts at the championship game. Like, they either go 0-1, or 1-1, or 2-0. That's when their season starts. Everyone else's season starts early on, trying to get. But like, they just.
They're hella arrogant.
But it's true. But that's where their mindset is. Their mindset is, we want to win a Super Bowl, not we want to get to the Super Bowl and have a good account of ourselves. It just feels different.
I think that's what the 49ers, they wanted to have a good account for themselves.
They wanted to have a good account for themselves. The first half, they were really well prepared. First drive, McCaffrey gave the turnover. I thought the wheels might fall off after that, and they didn't. They were locked in. They knew what was happening first half. And this is where we've spoken about it. It's like the 40th time we've discussed it. Half-time adjustments.
Yeah.
And this is where the difference comes in. Shanahan is a really good coach. Reed is just better. He is just better. That's all there is to say for me. Like, how do you recover from that? They will recover from that. The 49ers will be good again next year. They're going to have a little bit of cap trouble, but that's fine. They'll figure it out. Like, they're not paying Purdy. They'll figure that out easy.
They'll pay him in a 25 season.
No, year after. He's in his second year. So this will be going to the third year. I mean, you don't have to pay him to your 5th year.
Yeah.
You don't have to. He might leave, but then you'll probably be like, okay. Like, because we'll get into a Purdy debate more in the off season. But if you love him that much, pay him. But how much do you pay him?
Yeah.
Tell me how much he's worth right now for the 49ers. 10 million? 20 million.
Yeah.
20 million. How much was Baker worth this year? 4. Who would you rather
have?
4? Baker got paid 4 million this year.
Yeah, Baker was like, it's a different situation. Baker was like desperate for a job.
I'd have rather that Baker. Baker was better.
I love Baker, so yeah.
I'd rather have Baker, but Baker was 4 million. Which is obviously way more than Purdy's paid this year.
Well, he paid like 300 grand or something.
750 grand.
750 grand.
As I have roommate.
Yeah.
But this is the weird thing for me. Yeah, we'll get more into that in the off-season about what teams might do, how things will change, and how you approach it. But the 49ers' whole approach is, we aren't going to pay a quarterback silly money. Like, we're not going to have a £50 million quarterback like these 4, 5, 6 other teams. That's not who we are. We want to have an incredibly stacked offense and defense. We'll get a quarterback that works in that system, can play that system. That's not a bad thing either. That's not a criticism of anybody. Like, Purdy's good, Like, Purdy will get himself a job regardless, even if he doesn't get paid at the 49ers. But I think for me, I don't think he's the reason they lost at all. He played absolutely fine. Their approach just wasn't enough to beat the Chiefs. Yeah. I think that's the difficult thing, because if you made a lot of mistakes and lost the game, you'd come back and be like, damn, we can do better next year. What do you do better? How do you coach that? How you guys kind of did everything you could and we just got beaten by a better team? That's a tough coach. Run it back and try harder. Like,
yeah, you'll learn to pick up and learn certain situations and experience in certain areas, but overall you just come up against a better team and coach you.
That's a tough one to take. Yeah. That's a tough one to approach because, if you lose and you've played poorly, there's learnings from that. They didn't play poorly at all. Like, you wouldn't pick out any individual player and go, that was ropey. Like, Trent Williams had like a couple of flags and we both looked at each other like, Trent Williams is going to get flags. Like, we got some problems, but there were no flags after that.
Yeah.
Like, they locked it up. So everyone individually played well. You just didn't have the sum of the parts to beat a better team.
Yeah.
But damn, that's going to be interesting next year because we'll get into some stuff in the next couple of weeks about what we think for the upcoming season. But 3 peats on the cards, and that looks crazy for me.
Nick Wright over is going to be
yeah, man. Yeah.
And nothing can disrupt him.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. People thought, we spoke about it in the previous episode, you thought the Bills might do it. Bills couldn't hack it. People thought no one can touch the Ravens. The Ravens are too strong, too good. 17-10. And it didn't look 17-10.
No.
Might as well have been 17-0. Like, it looks like 17-0. Oh, okay, well the 49ers are still good. Loads of people. 49ers are favourites in that game by 2.5 points. Okay. Never a doubt. He's got the tattoo on his wrist. Never a doubt. Should have put my shades on.
What, Nick Wright?
Nick Wright has a tattoo that says never a doubt.
God.
He's right. Like,
you are turning into him more and more every day.
He's got good takes. He and I agree on takes. Oh, on from me.
Yeah. Chiefs Super Bowl champions.
Yeah. Chiefs Super Bowl champions. Win by 3. 25-22.
I loved it.
Move into the off season. Well, unbelievable game.
Yeah, fair play. Mahomes is the best.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable.
It's nuts, isn't it? Nuts. Cool. Anything else to add? I think that's the main things that happened in that game. Dammy's going to be happy. He's going to take that as a win.
What, because he almost gets a score?
6 touchdowns, yeah. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else?
No.
Nice one. Hope everybody enjoyed the game, because we really did.
Yeah.
Excellent game. And now moving to the off season. Lots of changes, I reckon. Lots of stuff. We've got some cool stuff coming for you. We'll do some discussions around, in the coming episodes, we'll do some discussions around the season that we've had. We made some picks. Mostly, let's call it a mixed bag at best. Let's call it a mixed bag. It was a tough season to predict, sort of. And yeah, we'll get into the draft as well. Draft's coming up in a couple of months, so yeah, lots to talk about. But yeah,
can't wait.
Nice one. We'll catch you in the next one.